Hi, everyone. Welcome and thanks for coming this evening. My name is Ariel Carver. I'm the Executive Director of the Birth Circle. Tonight's subject is car seat safety. And we have several of our Athens County's new child passenger safety technicians joining us this evening to present what they have learned and let you know how you can connect with a car seat tech in person near you. The Birth Circle mission is to empower and support families on their journeys to and through parenthood by providing information, resources, and community. We gather together at these meetings to share in each other's lives, creating a sense of community through the experience of parenthood. We know that, as I'm sure our techs will go into soon, that car seats are a challenge for all parents everywhere for many years. So that's something that really all of us have in common, and we all have a lot to learn about. So that's really all that I have for right now, and I will go ahead and pass it over to our car seat techs to let us know what we can do about that.
Great, awesome. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kaelin Browning. I am the Assistant Director with the Birth Circle, and I am one of the techs presenting this evening. But for sake of making sense of the slides, we can introduce ourselves in order here, so I can let Rebecca go first.
Hello, my name's Rebecca. I'm a board member with the Birth Circle, and I've been a tech for, I guess, 1.5 years now almost. And yeah, so here today to help present some of this information and help everybody out.
And I can go next. Hi, everybody. My name is Bryce Bale. I am a health educator and the women's health coordinator at the Athens City County Health Department. I recently became a tech to expand my knowledge and then the services that we can offer at the health department. So we are currently offering car seat checks. You can just stop in or give us a call. And I'll be talking to you today about how to navigate buying the right car seat.
Hey, I'm Shelby. I'm one of the youth services librarians with the Athens County Public Libraries, and I recently became a tech at the same training as Bryce, actually. And we're hoping to be able to officially offer this service starting sometime in the new year.
Like I said, I'm Kaelin Browning, and I also just certified as a tech with Shelby and Bryce. And I'm excited to be able to bring car seat safety knowledge to our Birth Circle meetings. So one of these glorious days when we're back to having meetings in person again, we're excited to be able to hopefully try to have at least me or Rebecca at each meeting, so that anytime someone's coming to a Birth Circle meeting, if they want to arrange to have their car seat checked out at that point too, we can offer that. I'm also the owner / operator of Birth Source. I'm a birth doula and a childbirth educator, so I'm excited to be able to use this information also to help my clients be able to be prepared for their new babies and make sure that they know the best way to use their car seats. So I'm excited to be able to be a part of this tonight with you guys too.
All right, so we will go ahead and get right into it. As I kind of mentioned, there are many factors myself and the other local technicians can help you navigate. The first being buying the right seat. So basically, there are 4 different types of car seats. You have your rear facing only car seat, meaning that the seat can only be installed rear facing. This is typically the type that you use if you have an infant carrier that can be removed and then clicked back into place once you get back into the vehicle. And then there's the forward facing only car seat. This typically has a 5-point harness and can only go forward facing, of course. Then you have your combination car seats, which are like marketed as your all-in-one, which might start rear facing when you have a smaller infant and then go forward facing when they've exceeded that weight limit. And then you graduate up to booster seat. And then when you get out of booster seat into just a seat belt. The most important factor to consider though, when you're choosing your child's car seat is to make sure that your child is within the weight, height, and age limits of that seat according to the manufacturer. So how do you find that out? You can read this label on the hard plastic side of the seat. And depending on where your kid is, age, weight, height, developmentally, then you can determine whether that's a good fit for them. Also, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration provides this really good graphic so that you can kind of measure out where your child is in terms of age and see what group they might fit into. So generally birth to 3 years old, you're looking at a rear facing only car seat. And then as your child gets a little bit bigger, taller, stronger, then they graduate up. This being said, though, it is best for your child to remain rear facing in their car seat as long as possible. And most car seats will allow your child to remain rear facing until about 40 pounds. And this is because the majority of accidents occur head on in terms like frontal collisions. And rear facing car seats are designed to protect the child's brain, neck, and spinal cord. So it's totally okay if your kiddo's legs touch the back of the seat when they're rear facing. Easily fix damage to the legs, not so much the brain, neck, and spinal cord. But then when your child has outgrown the rear facing height and weight limit, then you're ready to go forward facing, so on and so forth. A few other quick considerations regarding choosing the right seat. Never buy a used car seat, and that's just because you can't verify the history of the seat, meaning that it may have been in an accident, maybe there are missing parts or missing instructions or damage that you can't necessarily see. Again, if you're unsure of when to change your seat, you can look at the car seat label to make sure that your child is still within the weight, height, and age requirements. And then one other thing I wanted to mention was just to register your seat so you can become aware of recalls. So if you're buying a new seat, there's a paper registration that comes with that seat, and you can go ahead and mail that in to the manufacturer. And if anything does go wrong with that seat, then they will mail you and let you know. Or you can go to nhtsa.gov and search car seat registration, and they will take care of that for you as well. You just type in what manufacturer of your car seat is and the model number. And lastly, my contact is up on the slides. Feel free to reach out to me or the other local technicians if you have questions or if we can talk through your seat with you.
Okay, so Bryce was just talking about the right seat. So next, I'm going to just talk to you very briefly about the right place. And this is pretty straightforward and simple. What we're talking about here is not necessarily what the law of Ohio requires, but we are talking about what is like the gold standard for safety. The law may keep things to the minimum, but we're talking about, okay, what should we really be doing in order to keep our children as safe as possible? And so as far as safety recommendations go, and that's my baby in the background. She's telling you all about how to keep her safe in the car. As far as safety recommendations go, it is recommended that we keep all children in the back seat until they are 13 years of age. So that is just an easy, simple rule to keep in mind to keep everybody safe.
So alongside that, we want to make sure that your child is in the car seat that is facing the right direction for them. Again, best practice is to keep a child in their rear-facing car seat for as long as possible until they reach the highest weight or height allowed by the car seat manufacturer. A lot of car seats, especially the all-in-ones, will have a much higher weight limit, which will allow you to keep your child rear-facing for as long as you can. And when they are too tall or too heavy for the rear-facing either feature in your all-in-one or for the rear-facing seat that you have, that's when you'll be able to move them to a forward-facing car seat.
Okay, so next we're talking about the inch test. So once you've got your car seat installed and you have it the way, the way you think that it's now ready to go, to put your child in it and go somewhere, what you can do to check and make sure it's tight enough is to give it what we call the inch test. Get a hold of your car seat very near the belt path where the seat belt is running through the car seat, and give your car seat a shake. Now you don't have to like go crazy and like really, really, really try to shove it around. Just about like a handshake strength is all you need to be using, and see how easily you can move that car seat. If you can move it more than an inch side to side or front to back, then it's too loose. And so one trick you can use with a car seat, if it's not tight enough, one thing you can try is to actually get yourself in the car and put your knee in that car seat to add extra weight to it, and then pull your belt tight and see if that will get it tight enough so that it's not wiggling around too much. Another thing to make sure that you've checked is to make sure that your seatbelt is locked. Depending on what kind of seatbelt you have, there are different ways that it may lock, but a lot of cars have the type of retraction where if you pull the shoulder strap all the way out and then let it retract back in, then it should be locked. When you pull on it again, it shouldn't pull out anymore. And that's how you know if your car seat belt is locked or not. So that's a really important thing to make sure you do after you buckle the seat in. All right, Rebecca.
All right, so you want to make sure that your harness is snug enough by doing the pinch test. So after you buckle and tighten the harness with the chest clip right at the armpit level, you'll pinch the strap at your child's shoulder. You shouldn't be able to pinch any excess webbing between your fingers, and if you can, it's an indicator that you need to tighten the strap. I've got a couple videos to share, a couple short ones, so I'll go ahead and share screen real quick. Oh, well, I'm gonna, okay, there. And it always covers up the top where I can't see my tabs. Okay. Can you all see that? Yeah, okay.
I can. I can't hear it. I don't know if I'm supposed to hear it.
Hmm. And so I thought that just kind of showed a good example of, how to get it tight and, what's acceptable as far as like pinching and excess webbing. It doesn't have to be so tight that, it leaves marks when you take it off, but it should be pretty snug. Once it's clipped, you'll just want to make sure that you pull up on both sides, like down by their legs, to make sure there's no extra slack around the legs, and then tighten, pull it up again, readjust the shoulder pads if you need to, and then put the chest clip, make sure the chest clip is right in place. And then, it might take a couple times of tightening and readjusting before you get it snug enough. So I know sometimes when I'm putting her in, it's, 2 to 4 times of pulling it up, making sure that there's no slack around their legs, tightening it, and then making sure that it's snug enough there. An important thing too around this time of year is bulky clothing or winter coats. That can definitely keep you from getting a snug fit in the harness. So you might think that they're, secure and snug in the seat, but in fact, the harness might not be tight because there's just so much air in the jackets. If you think about how like we vacuum seal clothing in bags for storage and that kind of thing, and how much smaller those coats and clothing can get when you suck all the air out of them, crash impacts with all the force that occurs when that happens, it would just automatically push all the air out of those spaces. And then that would result in your kid having loose straps, and they could, risk being ejected from the vehicle or propel farther forward, hitting the back of the seat, those kind of things. So you really want to be careful about that kind of stuff in winter weather. And one way to kind of check and see, is this coat too thick or is it too bulky, is to do the chalk test. And there was a quick little video that I wanted to share about that too, because I thought that was a really great way to kind of test for yourself. And I'll pull that up. You can see that's where she's pulling up. That's what I was talking about before. Right. So I just kind of wanted to do a quick share of one way to kind of see just how much extra bulk your coats might add. I wouldn't necessarily follow the finger testing that she was showing there. You would do the pinch test to get the best indicator of a tight fit, but that's a good way to, chalk at the bottom there, and then take the coat off, and then you can physically see how much extra space is added by those bulky coats. One way to avoid that in the winter is to dress in layers, putting on multiple layers, and then, putting on the coat backwards is usually what we do. Just take it off when they're in there, flip it around, kind of like a poncho. Another thing that we do is we keep blankets in the car. We've just got a couple $5 throws. We got a couple of $5 holiday throws that we got at Walmart. And we just keep one in the car and throw it over her once we get her buckled in. And then when we get out, we throw the coat on, zip it up, and boom. So that way we know that she's still snug in there and she still stays warm. Lots of times if you keep the coats on when they're in the car too, it'll get really hot. If they're wearing a big bulky and you got the got the heat blasting in the car, it can get kind of hot in there as well. So just something to be conscious of during the winter.
And then these are a couple of infographics that I found about the about various statistics surrounding car seat safety. The bad news does tell us that the vast majority of child restraints are used incorrectly. But on the bright side, when they are used correctly, they can safely reduce fatalities by 71% for infants and 54% for toddlers. We wanted to show this infographic just to emphasize the importance of not only using a car seat, but using the correct car seat and using it correctly.
Yeah, so we just wanted to touch on some of the most common mistakes that are made when it comes to car seat safety. And some of these are kind of duplicates of what we just talked about. This is one of them. So one of the most common misuses is that people don't have their car seats in tight enough. And that can really be a challenge. And I think that's part of why a lot of times we're in a hurry. We throw the car seat in, we kind of get it as tight as we can, and then we take off. But it's just not worth that extra. It's not worth saving just a couple minutes, when it comes to our child's safety. So again, we want to make sure that there's not more than an inch of movement, either forward and back or side to side, when we are wiggling our car seat at the belt path with like a handshake's strength level. And that's whether you're using the latch system, or if you're using your regular seat belt that comes in your car. And if you're not familiar a lot with the difference between latch or your seatbelt, or how to use it properly, that's something that any of us techs could help show you in person, help you get familiar with how to do that at any time. If you wanted to arrange with any of us to do a car seat check, we're more than happy to do that. And that's completely for free, of course, at all times. Let's see, what was I going to say? Yeah, of course, you're going to want to use your manual to make sure that you are putting the seatbelt in the right belt path. That's another thing to make sure of. And a lot of times it'll tell you right on the side of the car seat. It should say somewhere on the plastic which belt path is the proper one for if your car seat is forward facing or rear facing.
Yes, and along with that misuse, a lot of times the angle that your car seat is installed at can be wrong. So again, look on the side of the seat at the hard plastic, and you'll have like a recline angle indicator, and make sure that the little ball or the fluid, sometimes it's like a level, is in the correct spot for the orientation that you have your seat in, whether that's forward facing or rear facing. Make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions for that, and that it's in the green or the good area.
So another common misuse is having the belt path in the incorrect belt path. So you definitely want to follow the manufacturer's recommendations, read through the directions, and make sure that you are following the correct belt path and installing it appropriately. Generally, the belt path is the path closest to the seat. You can see, like in the picture there, on the left side, that it's going, farther away, that there's a path farther away. And so that's incorrectly routed. And that would be the path that you would take if it was rear facing and the car seat was flipped around. And then the correct path is shown on the right side, where it's going closest to the back of the seat. But every car seat is different. Always follow the directions in the manufacturer's booklet. But and they're also really good about showing the belt path on the seats a lot of times now too. So just pay close attention to that. A lot of car seats have lock-offs as well, which may or may not be optional. So it's important to check the directions for that as well. Because, you know, a lock off could be, you know, an extra addition, whether you're installing it without the seatbelt lock, or it could be something that, you know, they recommend doing all the time, no matter what. So, so yeah, just check the directions and, you know, or call a tech and we can help you with that too. And make sure that you've got it in the correct routed way.
Another common mistake is that people will forget to use the top tether for a forward-facing install. And that should be done if the seat is forward-facing 100% of the time. The top tether plays a major role in significantly reducing a seat's forward motion, which can cause injury to the child, especially in their head and their neck. Yeah, research on car seat misuse from the University of Michigan suggests that to some degree, the top tether may also help mitigate the effects of other car seat misuses, such as loose harnessing or loose installation. So if you do one thing correctly, absolutely tether your forward-facing seat.
Okay, so we kind of already talked about this as well. It's good to repeat it though, because this is such a common mistake. Often parents are worried about accidentally pinching their kid's neck or making it uncomfortable if they make the child's shoulder straps too tight. And well, of course, there is a certain extent to where you could really make it too tight so that it's uncomfortable. But like Rebecca mentioned earlier, as what you're looking for is to make sure that you can't pinch the seatbelt together vertically when it's up around the child's collarbone. When you're pinching right there, you don't want to be able to actually grab material and pinch it together. As long as you can't do that, then you have it at a good tightness. And if it is pinching your child's neck when you have it at that tightness, then one quick and easy remedy is just to pull the fabric of their shirt in so that it's on their neck and kind of protecting it from the seatbelt pinching them at all.
And one other misuse and how to correct it, along with the webbing on the harness, we want to make sure that you position the chest clip in the right place. And that should always be at armpit level. And that will also keep your harness tight enough as well. If you can get the straps tight enough and keep the chest clip on armpit level, that's what we want.
Yeah.
So another common misuse would be using non-approved covers and cushions. They sell a lot of aftermarket stuff to use in car seats, and you know, best practice would be to not use anything, you know, that isn't approved, or you know, that doesn't automatically come with your car seat, or you know, that doesn't list it as an approved accessory with the car seat manufacturer. So, you know, things like the head wraps, if you can see that, I think it's showing me Bryce's screen right now, but you can probably see me, I think. So these kind of things like the headrests, you don't really need to have them, and it adds extra bulk behind them. So if it hasn't been, you know, crash tested with that on the car seat, then you really wouldn't want to use that as an accessory. So anything that goes, you know, between the child and the seat is definitely not good, you know, for reasons that I mentioned before with adding bulk or, you know, not getting that tight fit. So you don't want anything to impede upon that. You know, all those toys too that they, you know, sell you to hang across, like the infant carriers and that kind of thing. Those can all become projectiles when you're in a crash. So, you know, I like to think if you wouldn't throw it at your kid's face, then you probably shouldn't dangle it on your car seat. So that's a good way to kind of think about that.
Yeah, so that is a quick crash course in some easy how-tos for home and common mistakes to avoid. Um, we're super excited to be able to be here in the area now and be able to be available to meet up with you or answer your questions over the phone or however you would want to reach out to us. And we're very excited to now have a brand new Facebook group that is open to the public where several of us techs are moderators, and you can go there at any time and post your questions or post if you're looking for somebody to be able to meet up with you and do a car seat check for you. And we will be there on that group page and we'll be available to help answer your questions. So we're very excited about that. And you can find a link to that now on the Birth Circle's website. And I don't know if anybody could go ahead and throw the link to that in the chat. My laptop died, so I'm now on my phone, so I can't get to things very quickly. So we have that to share, and we also have a packet. It's like a folder on Google Docs that has some of the graphics that we showed today, like the very first one that showed the rule of thumb for which size or which car seat for your child at what age, and which direction it should be. We have that graphic in the folder. We have a page full of links of great resources. So you can go to those links. There's an option for like if you're watching this and you're in a different state, you can click on your state and it will tell you your state's laws regarding child restraints. There is an awesome link to, it's called the Ultimate Car Seat Guide, I think, where you can put in the height and weight of your child and get personalized recommendations as far as what kind of car seat would be best for you, where it should be in your car, how it should be positioned. It's really great, just a step-by-step interactive little guide that will help you with everything you need to know. And even if you're pregnant and your child has not been born yet, you can still go through that and it'll give you all the recommendations for being ready for your baby to be born. There's several other great links on there as well. You can click on one of them to get to the Find a Tech page online where you can type in your zip code and find a certified car seat tech near you if you're not in the Athens area. But yeah, feel free to explore that, and we'll also put a link to that. Did you put a link to that in there too, Rebecca? Okay, perfect. So there's a link to that there. And if you're watching this recording, if we'll have these links in the description area for the recording, wherever you might be finding this. Did anybody have any questions?
Not a question, but this is Bryce Bale. I just want to thank the Birth Circle and the March of Dimes for putting on this training so that we could all become techs. And of course, let you all know that we're available anytime. Just call or stop into the health department or one of the other agencies on the call, and we'll get you taken care of. We'll help you navigate it and figure it out together. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's great that the library and then the health department are going to start to try to offer car seat checks for our community members. I did a DNP project related to child passenger safety, and that's how I kind of tried to, get the Birth Circle more involved in that, because I did recognize that there was a need in the area and that we didn't have, many car seat techs in the area or, public areas where people could go to get their car seat checked. So thanks to all of you guys for joining in on the movement as well and providing that service to our community members.
For sure, I'm excited about it. had always heard and seen people say that you could go to the fire station to get your car seat checked, like even in our area. And so I was surprised to find when we took our training that there's actually not anybody at the fire station who's certified, at least not these days. So I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that this was such a need.
Yeah, and that is a common mistake. And, you know, and sometimes some cities there are, you know, registered registered check stations at fire departments or, you know, police stations and that kind of thing. But, you know, they have to go through specific, you know, training and certification to be a registered check station like that. So there's definitely a lot more services in bigger cities, and there's really just no public check stations around here like that. So it is definitely a common misconception. And sometimes if you know, if you have that in your mind and then you try to go to a fire station or a police department, they, you know, they'll out of kindness try to help you, but you might not really get the right information. And so it's best to definitely look up and try to find a tech near you to make sure that you're getting the correct information.
Mhm. I think it's important too to make sure if you contact a place to ask if they have a tech there, to ask if they are like currently certified. You know, meaning because the Safe Kids techs, like we are, have to recertify every 2 years to stay current. So it might be good to find out if this is someone who took the training at some point in the past or if they are currently up to date.